Here are two new products from Logitech for creators, their Litra Beam Light bar and their Blue Sona microphone. Now Logitech did send these out to me, but they are not sponsoring this review, so I'm going to unbox this, check them out, and compare them with some options I have from Elgato, from EARTHWORKS, and give you some of my thoughts as an audio engineer for the microphone, and some thoughts about the Litra Beam Light bar from someone who uses a whole bunch of high quality production lights from Aperture. Alright, now let's check out the Blue Sona, and Ruby over here has joined us for the review. What do you think, Ruby? Are you excited about it? Now this is really neat because Blue is really well known within the recording industry for their microphones. So seeing them build something that is honestly a competitor to the Shure SM7B is really neat. Now to be frank with you, I really don't like the Shure SM7B. I don't really think they sound very good for most people. It may sound a bit better for those who have a higher pitch voice. In my opinion, it kind of tones them down a little bit. And for those who have deeper, bassier, darker voices, I feel like it makes it really muddy and even darker. Fun fact about the Shure SM7B though, Michael Jackson actually used that for the recording of a lot of his songs. Now this looks pretty nice. Oh my gosh. And then over here, I do believe, oh, this is so cool. We have a red pop filter here if you want to change it up from the black one. This has a very nice build quality. It feels very sturdy. I haven't found anything that's plastic so far, so that's good. This seems like it's made of really good metal. It's exactly what you want on a microphone. Now this does not use USB-C or USB-A for connectivity. It does use an XLR cable. I actually really prefer that because there's so much more flexibility in terms of being able to use this. Okay, let's move it over to my main setup where I have a Go XLR as my interface, and I'll compare it with my EARTHWORKS Icon Pro. Oh yeah, here's a hint. If you want to win some stuff, go follow Logitech at Logitech C on Instagram, and follow This Is Tech Today on Instagram as well. Logitech C and Instagram. Hey, Ruby, your hair is in front of the camera. Come on. Okay, well, Ruby's over here, so I think she needs some snuggles. So let's go talk to the old Brandon and go over some microphones. Now you're probably noticing something a little bit interesting. This one's white, but then I have a black one. And that's right, because they have two different colors that are available to you. Both of them have a black pop filter and a red pop filter, which is really nice. I really like the color. Obviously, I like black and white aesthetic. Now here is what the Blue Sona sounds like without any sort of processing on it. It's flat EQ, no compression, no de-esser, no gate, no nothing. Here's what it sounds like, but it sounds a little bit lifeless. Now you do have the switches on the back, so you can do a high pass filter or a low cut, and this is what it would sound like if you did that. Or you could turn on the presence, and this is what it sounds like. You can hear a little bit more of the air to it. And if you want, you can enable both the high pass filter or low cut and enable the presence, and this is what it sounds like. It sounds a little bit thinner for my particular voice, so I like having the low cut or high pass filter turned off. Now here's what the Icon Pro sounds like without the noise gate on, with my typical processing. Lots of fan noise, right? And then here's me typing on the keys. Pretty clanky. Now here's what the Blue Sona sounds like if I have all my processing turned on with the Go XLR, which I have over here, but I don't have the gate on. You can hear the room noise. Compressors are going to bring up that room noise, that standing room noise. I do like how this sounds a lot better with my custom EQ. I have a little bit more tuning and cleaning up on the low end here, and I have a bit of a boost in the high end to kind of remove that feeling of a blanket on the microphone. Now this does kind of lean more towards like a Shure SM7B, which has that really kind of mid-range forward, really kind of muted high end that does feel like you're underneath a comforter. I don't really prefer that sound, so I brighten it up a little bit. And that's one of the reasons why I also like the EARTHWORKS a little bit. It's a little bit brighter, but this really does make it sound a lot better with this EQ. Now something I want to talk to you about is the proximity effect. When you put your bottom lip on the microphone, you get closer. It feels fuller. It feels like you're closer. It's more intimate to the listener. Now the further you get back, the thinner it sounds, and the more of the room you hear. You hear all the reverb in the room when I do this, and when I get closer, you start to hear that reverb go away. This is one of the ways to avoid hearing some of the sound in your background. Now something interesting about this microphone is it's a Supercardioid polar pattern. Now what the heck does that mean? Well, it's this whole butt thing here. Oh, I just accidentally put, I'm not the butt. This is the butt. I'm not the butt. This is the butt. This is not the butt. That's the butt. So this is what a Supercardioid looks like. It kind of looks like a little butt with a little poopy at the bottom. Now, essentially what this is that everything that is up here is what's being picked up. It's what's in front of the microphone, and it goes all the way to 0. It's the ideal spot for speaking into or picking up audio. Now, behind it, you'll notice that there's some zones in the butt that it's not picking up, and then a little turdy turd. So you have all this area behind it that's not picking up audio. And yeah, it does pick up a little bit in the turd, but you'll notice that it's two it's 2 layers back from the outside of the ring, so it's not going to pick it up as loud as in the front of it. And that brings me to another thing that's really interesting about this microphone. It is a dual diaphragm dynamic microphone. What the heck does that mean? What that means is it has a diaphragm or mic that is pointing this direction, so where I'm talking into, and it'll pick up audio there. It also has another diaphragm that's pointing away from it. Now, why would you want to do that? You remember this little turd over here on the polar pattern? Well, the thing is, you still pick up a little bit of audio from behind you, like if you have a keyboard and you're clanking away on it. Well, if you have another capsule that's facing away from it that can pick it up, you can utilize something that's similar to like what you have on your AirPods Pro or headphones that have ANC or active noise cancellation. What it'll do is that rear-facing capsule will pick up the audio for the things that you don't want. They'll set it up so any of that audio that bleeds into the front capsule is canceled out a little bit more. That's pretty neat. The technical term for that is inverting the phase or phase cancellation. You can definitely hear the key still, but it's way less than on the EARTHWORKS, which is pretty impressive, honestly. Now, another thing that is talked about with this capsule is that it has a built-in shock mount, but on my actual desk, I can hear it quite a bit when I'm just tapping on my desk. So it's not the most amazing thing in the world. There is a better way to cancel audio from around you, like my computer noise and my keys, and it's called a gate. Here's the gate, and kind of think of it as like the bouncer at the club. Are you allowed in? You gotta have the right qualifications in order to come in. So that's where this comes into play. So over here, you kind of want to be able to attack quickly, punch them in the face real quick. And then when you let them go, you're just like, meh, just, casually let them go. It's going to be a little bit slower. So you want a really fast attack and a little bit slower release. And you can adjust this according to your taste. Now, for me, I personally like having my attenuation all the way up to max. So that means that anything that is not crossing this threshold, they don't have the qualifications for things, it's not going to come through at all. So we're going to move this up, and you can see already all the fan noise is gone because the fan noise from my computer is not loud enough. So it doesn't meet the qualifications. It doesn't cross over the threshold to go and open up the gate. Now, the first thing that you'll probably notice is that the Litra Beam has a way different form factor than the Elgato's Key Light, which has kind of a rounded rectangle shape. It actually reminds me a bit of a light bar, kind of like this Quasar Science one that we use and is used all over the place on movie sets. So this is a very interesting concept. And my goodness, this thing is actually really light, and it's actually quite thin. And there's a bunch of different little mounting points here, which is really nice. So you can mount it in a variety of different ways. You have one right there, you have one right there, and you have one right here. All right, alongside the back, you have a little bit of cable management. You can charge it over USB-C, which is awesome. You can also connect it to your computer over Bluetooth, which is also really great. You have a power on button there, and your intensity, and then your color temperature right here. You have little indicators there, and then pairing button for Bluetooth. Great, love that. I will say the plastic doesn't feel as sturdy or nice as the Elgato ones, but it's not bad. I mean, I don't feel any flexing or anything. Then here you have the actual stand, the bar for it, and I believe there is a weighted base. And then over here, I believe this is just the cable. It is a USB-A to USB-C cable. Now this is what it looks like on my main set. We have one that is within fingertips reach over here on top of the monitor. Interesting thing, I was able to use a webcam mount and screw it into the little screws on the Litra Beam, and it just fits on top of the monitor. So that's a clever way to not use a stand because it is kind of big, and just put it on top of your monitor. I also have one that is within arm's reach. I can just grab it. And over here, by the way, that's a sleeping Ruby up there. You see her? Right there. Okay, over here you have the Logitech G-Hub app. Both the Litra Beams are connected to it over Bluetooth to my Windows PC, and I've named them left and right. If you click on it, you have the option to edit the name again. You can turn it on and off, and then you can adjust the color temperatures, so you can make the main one warm or cool. They have some preset names over here, and they're kind of cute and stuff, but I actually don't know which one is standard daylight. So I wish they made one that just said daylight. And then you can adjust the brightness here. Now here you can choose the camera link. This is actually really neat. Right now I'm using OBS, so I'm using the source, so it's not showing up here. But one thing that's really neat is that if you are not using OBS or not using the camera at the time, it'll show up right here. And this is how you can kind of set it up and make sure that it looks exactly the way that you want. And if you happen to have a different lighting setup depending on what kind of game or program you're using, you can adjust it right here and it'll just automatically go to a different preset, which is really neat. All right, I've adjusted my camera for a single light source, and I'm going to show you 5 different tips for lighting yourself and and perhaps you'll have some inspiration or find the best fit for your use case. Right now we're using the front-facing lighting, so this is essentially right in front of me. Now you'll notice there's not a ton of shadows on my face, so it's not very dramatic. This may make sense for makeup content. I personally find it to be a little bit boring, but you know, whatever you want to use. Ruby's coming on down. But here we have butterfly lighting, and this is where it's right above you. It's literally just right above me, like a ceiling light. Now you'll see some shadows underneath my nose and my chin, so it looks more dramatic. It's not my favorite look. It looks like it may fit more for like a horror stream or something like that. Cat hair, jeez. And this is split lighting, so it's directly to my left. I just poked it. It's a very dramatic look to it, but I don't actually think it looks all that great. So you're probably thinking, Brandon, you've gone over 3 different kind of lighting styles and you don't really like any of them. Which one do you like? Well, let me show you. This is called Rembrandt lighting. This is 45 degrees to my left, and ideally you would have it 45 degrees raised up. The tip of the light goes up 45 degrees, so it can get higher with this particular stand, but you'll notice one characteristic that's typical of Rembrandt lighting. This triangle right here on my cheek. Now this is something that you'll commonly see in TV shows and movies. It adds a nice little bit of a contrast to it, some shadows, a little bit of illumination on the opposite side of your face. It just happens to look really good. But let's elevate this even more. So you may notice that right now, when I just have this light here, my overall kind of appearance blends in very easily with the background. Now, if I just put this light right here, I have this nice rim light here. Now, this is the opposite of Rembrandt lighting. You go 45 degrees to the back and then 45 degrees up. And you see that highlights my headphones and my hair very well, and it adds a bit of separation for me from the background. Sometimes people will choose a contrasting color temperature with your key light. So the key light is at a daylight temperature, and so I can warm this up and use this kind of as my rim light. So you can see how that makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. Now you're probably thinking, but Brandon, you're holding the light. So it's in the frame. That's not the most ideal. Now normally I do use the key light, and this is what they look like when I turn them on with the Litra beams already being on. You see how much brighter it gets? It's severely overexposed. And now the Litra beams are off, so this is what the Elgato key lights look like. And then I can adjust my camera, and it's about 2 stops down. Is not even at 100%, it's at 20%, so I can turn it up even more. So this is how bright it looks like when I have both of my key lights at max. If I were to use the same camera settings with the Litra beams, this is what it would look like, and I look a little bit darker. And then when we look at the top down, and it's okay. And this is really good if you happen to be the kind of person that doesn't want lights really kind of blurring all over your room. There is one downside to this situation, and it depends on the camera that you're using. Usually when you have a less powerful light, you have to gain up or increase the exposure on your camera. And if you're using a webcam, that can end up being a really big issue because it gets really grainy and noisy for you. Thankfully, I do have a nice camera, so all I have to do is adjust it a little bit and it already looks a lot better. But there's a situation where these absolutely shine, and I think they're absolutely amazing on a laptop. Right now I'm using my 16-inch MacBook Pro, and I have the Litra beam right above the monitor right here, and it looks pretty dang even and nice. What's really nice about this is that it's just plugged in here over USB-C onto your laptop, which makes this an incredible travel companion. This is way better than using the Elgato Key light when you're traveling, because the Key light not only uses a giant brick to power it, but it's huge. It's like the size of my torso or your chest or something like that. The Litra beam is really small and thin. You can easily slide it into your luggage or even a backpack, and you don't even have to bring a charger for it because you just have your laptop. It's really cool that you can actually do that. And if you didn't want to use this whole base and stuff like that, because it is kind of big and everything, you can use that webcam mount and put it on top of your monitor, and it just works so well. It's so convenient just to use that. This cat hair, I don't know, what do you think? As a whole, I do still think that this sounds a little bit dark compared to what I generally prefer, so it sounds a little bit more towards that Shure SM7B sound. Now, a thing about microphone selection from an audio engineer. There is a weird thing that goes around, especially in the streamer community, where you end up seeing that everyone suggests using the Shure SM7B or use the blue, mic or whatever. That's not the way you actually go about picking out a microphone. Everyone's voice is different. It's way different than picking up a camera. With a microphone, you want to pick out one that sounds as close close to the sound that you actually want without having to manipulate it. So that's why I don't prefer Shure SM7B type microphones. I have to EQ them a lot more in order to get the sound that I prefer. So I'm kind of fighting against what the natural inclinations are of the microphone. It's better to find a microphone that fits your voice better so you can just subtly adjust it a little bit more. So the best thing for you to do is to test out microphones and then find the right fit for you. And that's really all there is to it. So at the end of the day, this microphone and any microphone that's out there will not sound like the best option for everyone. It'll definitely sound like the best option for some. My other final thoughts are with the Litra Beam. The software is a bit buggy. I noticed that it's constantly losing connections and it's just not active. The Elgato in comparison has a really nice app that you can use. It also integrates really well with the Stream Deck. I can just turn it on and off just with the button. And it also has a little module in your quick settings where you can adjust the settings for your lights just there. On the Logitech Litra Beam, you have a dedicated app in a window that's over to the side that takes up more room, and that's not really my preference. So as a whole, for this particular setup, I'm going to continue using my normal setup with Elgato Key lights, but I'm definitely going to use these for my travel setup. They're awesome for that. Hopefully Logitech will launch a bigger, more powerful option, and maybe some RGB ones would be really cool as well. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. If you have any questions for me about lighting or audio or anything like that, let me know. I want to help out. Make sure you check out the links in the description. Those are affiliate links and they do help support the channel. And you'll also find the rules and regulations for entering into the giveaway. Thanks so much to Logitech for helping out with that giveaway so we can give back to the community. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you follow Logitech C on Instagram and This Is Tech Today on Instagram, and make a comment down below this video that says hashtag together we create, so you can be entered in to win, and they'll pick someone randomly and send it out to you if you qualify. So that's awesome. I love that. And finally, if you want to watch more audio content like on earbuds and headphones, go ahead and check out this playlist over here. Make sure you subscribe over here. Thanks for watching This Is Tech Today. Until next time.